Hey guys, how's it going? Well, the OnePlus 8T is finally here and it kind of comes as a successor to the OnePlus 8, though I'm not sure if it's a proper successor but more of a replacement. I don't know. There's kind of differences over the whole system, but this video will just be focusing on the cameras. See, on paper, they both share the same primary sensor, and the 80 has slight improvements in the ultrawide sensor. But let's talk about the real world performance. The company has claimed that they have done a lot of optimizations, but have they really? Well, this is Varun from Guiding Tech, and you're watching my in depth camera comparison of the OnePlus 8 against the OnePlus 8T. Let's get started. Okay, so kicking things off in the daylight segment, you'll feel that both the shots are the same. Well, they kinda are, except that there's some very slight processing happening on the 8T. The image appears a bit warmer on the OnePlus 8, especially with the color of the wall, while it is ever so slightly natural on the OnePlus 8T. Now in this next shot, once again, they look pretty similar, but the 8 has some higher contrast while the 8T offers a more balanced experience. Moving on to HDR shots, it's safe to say that OnePlus has worked a lot to improve the camera performance under HDR, and well, it shows. Honestly though, it's hard to separate these shots. That said, if you pixel peep a bit, you'll notice that the 80 produces ever so slightly sharper results. There's not a lot of new changes, yes, but it's just a more polished finish overall that makes the OnePlus 8T a bit better. Lastly, this shot of a flower bud really sums up the daylight experience. You see, both the phones offer a sharp and crisp shot. However, with the 8T, you get a better color balance and slightly better HDR. The saturation is controlled well on both the phones, but the 8T does it a tad bit better. Now, as always, all of this is my direct opinion and my analysis, and it's okay if you disagree with it. As always, all our comparisons and reviews are not sponsored in any format, and in fact, for all our camera comparisons, we give a direct download link to all the full res images in the description box. So go ahead, download them, analyze the images for yourself, and let me know in the comments below what you make of all of these shots. Anyway, let's proceed on with the camera comparison. Now moving on to ultra wide shots, let's take a look at the primary sensor. Both the shots are, like we just saw, pretty much the same. Now switch to the ultra wide sensor, and well, we have two main differences. Now while the 80 gets the better details, the 8 has managed to stick to the color profile of the standard lens. The 80 on the other hand is slightly on the warmer side when switching from the normal to the ultra wide sensor, so there's that. Now moving on to human subjects, it's safe to say that OnePlus is working on fixing one of their biggest issues, but has also introduced another different kind of an issue. See, in the normal shot, you'll see how the OnePlus 8T manages to get rid of the ever-present red tint on the OnePlus 8. However, if you pixel peep, you'll see that the 8T also has a slightly softer image. What makes things interesting is that when you turn the portrait mode on, both the shots are equally sharp. Heck, the 80 is actually a bit sharper. For some reason though, the 80 adds some beautification to the normal mode, even after ensuring that it's off via the settings and filters, which is kinda surprising. Now other than that, both the shots are pretty much the same, but I'm glad that OnePlus has fixed, or at least is working towards fixing, the red tints on human subjects. Now for Rio videos, well, let's just take a look.
Alright, so I'm recording 1080p 30 FPS footage from the OnePlus 8, which is on my left, and the OnePlus 8T, which is on my right. The super stable modes are turned on both the devices, and you can see I'm walking at a very normal speed, and I think in terms of stabilization, both the devices are at par. If the 8 feels a little bit slightly unstable, that's probably because it's on my left hand, but yeah, I think both the devices are pretty much at par. The HDR seems to be working fine, and there's no issue whatsoever. There's a camera guy, Shubro, at least for the English channel. He does all the magic stuff for the camera. I mean, I'm still learning from him. But yeah, when it comes to overall video quality, both the shots look crisp, both the footages look crisp, and stabilization is there. While panning the camera around, you don't see any various frame tracking. And if I was doing a little bit stable, yep, OIS is working well on both the phones. So yeah, that is definitely a good factor for both the phones.
Okay, so now moving on to selfies, we finally have some differences. This first shot was really challenging with the sun right behind me and the camera having to push out some hard HDR shots. As a result, my face has a holo glow on it, though it's much better controlled on the OnePlus 8T. Even the HDR is slightly better on the 8T as opposed to the OnePlus 8. Turn on the portrait mode and well, while the edge detection is fine, this looks like a very fake bokeh with the added HDR and I'm not really a fan of this. Now in this next shot, the sunlight was on my face, adding that natural glow. So while the OnePlus 8T gets the colors of my t-shirt right, my face is warmed up. If you like the glow, that's up to you, but I personally feel the OnePlus 8 has a better shot here simply because it's closer to reality. Turning on the portrait mode and once again the edge detection is on point, but the bokeh feels a bit too extreme. Of course you can control it manually, but I was just testing things on the auto and default mode and this is what I got. Now for selfie videos, well once again let's just fit this frame inside the cameras or the phones. Anyway, let's take a look.
Alright, so now I'm recording 10 rupees selfie footage with the OnePlus 8 which is on my left and the OnePlus 8T which is on my right, and I'm back walking for some reason. But yeah, obviously both the cameras are on the left side, so getting the same kind of angle from both the phones is going to be really tough. You can see how both the phones perform in terms of HDR. I think they are pretty similar. There's not a lot separating both the phones. The HDR is pretty much blown out in both the phones, no difference as such. And yeah, but when the light is on my face like it is now, once again both the phones are doing a great job. They both look good. But yeah, I think okay, now you would be able to get a better idea in terms of the angles and all. So I mean it's fine. I think there's not a lot separating both the phones. They look pretty much the same to me, and they could look different while I check them on my PC. But I mean they have the same panel, it's the same camera setup. Very frank. So I mean it was kind of expected to get the same kind of output here.
Now let's move on to low light shots, and I feel this is the most improved upon area. In this first shot you can see that the 8T lets in more light, even in the normal mode, while the 8 is battling with noise and grains. Turn on the night mode and, well, while the 8 does a fairly decent job, the 8T shot is super crisp and quite appealing. In this next shot, there wasn't a lot of light to begin with, but the 8T once again manages to input a lot more light as compared to the normal OnePlus 8. Switching to the night mode, and well, the 8T shot is once again far more refined. Lastly, we have low light selfies. Now there is no night mode here, and the normal sensor, well, it produces the same result on both the phones, so like to be very frank, there's not a lot to talk about here. They're both fine shots, but nothing fancy about it. Okay, so what's the verdict? Well, our unit of the OnePlus 8 was running the all-new OxygenOS 11 update, and to be frank, I will have to give OnePlus credit for how they've managed to fix and optimize the camera, especially compared to how the OnePlus 8's camera used to perform when it was launched. So yeah, they've come a long way. Now as for the camera improvements that the company talked about during the launch event of the 8T, I think they were actually focused on improving the camera of the OnePlus 8 and then ever so slightly tuning it for the 8T. Because as you can see from the shots, if I just remove the watermarks and just put both the images in front of you, you would think that they're the same shot. Forget recognizing which device is like which device and which camera took that very specific shot. You would think they're the same images. And that's the whole point. The OnePlus 8T has a very slightly better tuning and better slightly optimization over the 8. Does that make it a better camera? Absolutely. Should you buy the 8T over the 8 for that camera? Absolutely not. Seriously, the camera upgrades are not going to be worth to justify the 8T over the 8. If you're looking to choose between the OnePlus 8 or the 8T, there are different factors to consider. And if you're interested in watching that kind of a video, we already have a comparison over on the Hindi channel. Then again, I will be doing a thorough testing of the OnePlus 8T and I will be doing a long-term review of the phone. So make sure that you're subscribed to our channel and have the bell notification turned on to ensure that you get a notification for whenever my long-term review of the OnePlus 8T goes live. In the meanwhile, well, the Mi 10T series is here, and if you'd like to watch a camera comparison or even a full-fledged comparison of the Mi 10T with the OnePlus 8T, battle of the Ts, let me know in the comments below. Till then, this is Varun from Guide in Tech, and I'll see you in the next one.